Hey guys, welcome out to the range. I'm getting ready to head out and run the Overland course. And I wanted to show you guys something. This is a Glock, well this is actually a Glock 22, but the Glock 22 and the Glock 17 are basically the same frame. But this is a handgun that I got from my friend Brian Flanagan at Aim Surplus. And this is a procedure that they do to handguns there at Aim Surplus. They do the full-on everything. They take off the finger grooves that are designed for a 12-year-old girl. No comment, Sarah. They have the undercutting. They create the undercut for the middle finger. They give you. They actually modified their forward thumb rests for me. Instead of angled upward, they actually angled flat so that you can really get your thumb far forward, so you can really get a good solid position this way as opposed to this way. For those that want them this way, they can do them that way. And then the slide is a drop-in slide from Aim Surplus with Trigicon suppressor sights that Trigicon sent me, and Trigicon also kindly sent me an RMR 04, RMR 04, which is fiber optics driven. 7 MOA, love it. And for those that are going, well, man, that's a really big dot. If you take your red dot, your RMR 06, and take your 3.25 MOA dot, and get it bright enough to see it in sunlight, it's going to have a little bit of blooming. And when you compare it to a 7 MOA dot, which is amber, which is a beautiful crisp circle, you're going to find that the two dots are almost identical in size. So you guys keep forgetting I know what I'm doing. Yes, you know, someone got offended and they ran to the comment section. Don't care, Hot Pockets. So anyways, what you end up with is a dot that is really crisp, easy to work with, but runs off fiber optics. In fact, it's so efficient at pulling in light, I've had to electrical tape the top of the optic, which is where the fiber optics run through, just to keep the dot from blooming. Even on a cloudy day like today, you end up with a dot that is so easy to see against a white target. That's a big deal, because if you're pointing a dot at a light colored target, you're going to have problems seeing it. And yes, you can see it at night. Anyways, this whole setup is beautiful. It runs really well. I've run it now at 3 handgun classes, I believe, and no complaints whatsoever. And it has been just, man, it's been top notch. I've loved it. It's been absolute top notch. So I'm going to run the Overland course. You guys are coming along on this camera because this is legit nonstop. I treat this as cardio. It's going to be about, for me, it's going to be about a total of 45 minutes. For you, it's going to be a few minutes. All right, before we get started, I wanted to show you guys the techniques that I use. Part of what I do when I come out here is I'm just working with my sling. Because I make rifle slings, I make it a point to work with what I make so that I'm always improving the product for you guys. The majority of what we do with rifles is just carry them. So I place my rifle here, and it allows me to walk with it, and I'm not hitting it, and it's not doing this on me, because it will wear you out. When your rifle, this is a relatively lightweight rifle because of by design, but oh man, it's cold out here. But it still will cause bruising from going poke, poke, poke all day long. So people like talking about, you know, the survival situation. Okay, think about it. If you're wearing a rifle for an extended period of time, that's a lot of abuse on your body. Excuse me, which is why you want to have the most lightweight setup possible. So when you're moving with the rifle, it actually should be here. Not here, and sure as heck, not here. Because that right there means you've just switched off your rifle. Your rifle is totally sleeping right now. Here, your rifle is where you can get to it immediately. So here is where you want it for walking purposes. For immediate ready, it should be up front. If you have to transition to a sidearm, the rifle should be here. So what you're going to see me doing when I'm out here is, because we're going to be running off this camera, periodically you'll see me do this as the rifle goes into storage mode, because I'm totally mentally transitioning to the handgun for that brief period of time. Handgun goes back away. And by the way, for those who've never done this, a chest rig M4 pouch will hold a handgun. This one doesn't have a light, but it will hold a handgun. Honestly, it'll hold a handgun with a light better because it'll actually square it up. But this is a chambered handgun, and I don't worry about it going off because this has a stiff backer to it, and nothing's going to casually poke into that trigger. It's just not. So you're going to see primarily the rifle do this when I go to the handgun, well, I'm sorry, not primarily. You're going to see that movement on this camera when I go to handgun, but primarily the rifle's going to be hanging out right here. This course of fire is going to be 175, 50, 25, and it's going to be 1, 1, 1, 1, and then 100, one shot. I'm going to restrict myself to 1 to 2 shots per, not because of any ammo issues, but because it creates a sense of urgency. It creates a sense of, I got to get that shot and I got to get it in one try. If I miss it, I'll give it another try, and if I miss it, then that's a failure and I move on. And that forces me to slow down, get my landmarks, get my shots. Come on, let's go. I've said this before, but I don't recall if I said it for this video. Whenever I come out here to do the Overland course, sometimes, not every time, but sometimes I'll run just off of this camera for video purposes for you guys, and even sometimes for performance analysis for myself. But if I'm doing, like, legitimately, I'm running the Overland course, I'm not framing shots and filming a video, then it's only this camera, because I want to keep moving. And it's really cold out here, and I'm about to go prone, which means suffering. So I want to get this shot and I want to move on. That's roughly the 100-yard. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. I believe this is roughly 75. Take a knee. Up. Oh, I love this course of fire. I used to do this a lot more until life got complicated. This Geisley trigger spoils me. And 25-ish, well, 25-ish is about right there. Not the greatest hits, because I'm rusty, but they're all in there. All right, now, rifle's here in storage mode, and now I just struck on, because the majority of what I'm doing is what? Carrying the rifle. EPC closed, rifle in storage mode, and move efficiently. Like I said earlier, this is a course of fire that I use as a workout. I normally trail run for about 45 minutes at this pace. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 with trekking poles. But sometimes I replace that with this for roughly 30-ish, 40-something odd minutes. I think I said this before. Whenever you're talking about lubrication for your rifle, you really need to pay attention to what you're using. I use Lucas Extreme Duty gun oil. Years ago, when I stumbled upon their lube, I went, oh, we're done now. Why? Because Lucas is a lubrication company. Whereas other companies have their stuff made for them, Lucas is making their own. All right, we've got a 10-inch gong out there at 100 yards. Push into the mulch. Try to get my landmark. Yeah, I didn't think I was going to make that. Can barely see it. Oh, shut up. I actually hit that. That's legit. That's great. Of course, now I'm covered in mulch. That feels good. Yeah, high on the gong. I believe today's hit is good. Oh yeah, it's that little fresh one right there. So yeah, I was a little too high. Should have been aiming lower. All right, take the hill. All right guys, I want to show you something. When the rifle's in front and you're humping it up a hill, see what the rifle's doing? Watch. Different, isn't it? it's a different feel. Every time that your rifle goes like this, if you don't have a sling, like the Tier 1 Citizen 2-point sling with bungee in it, your clavicle is gonna remind you how much you hate wearing a rifle. But if you have a sling that is designed for carrying and fighting a rifle, your sling is gonna manage your gun for you. That's what my slings do. Right as we crest the hill, there's a Lollipop out in front. Let's see here. Okay, yeah, we'll do that one. Well, dang it. I don't recall if that was a handgun or rifle rated. One on the left. So we're gonna go for the Lollipop. I know that that hill back there will suck up the round if I miss. So this is roughly, I don't know, man, 70-ish yards on a 6-inch Lollipop. Shut up. That was too good. I'd be lying if I said, guys, I'd be lying if I said that was 100% skill. Part of that was luck because your dot is going like this because my respirations and heart rate are up. But still got it. Let's see where the hit was. Let me swing it over. At this distance, I've got to make sure that I've got an oblique shot. Oh, good. White. That's what I was going for. All right. On the hill, 300 yards. Poke it through the hole. Oh. Trap it against the barrier. Booyah. Love it, love it, love it. Can you guys tell I love shooting? Got one in the distance. And he's hard to tell when you hit him because he doesn't have springs on. That's a hit. All right, got that guy out there at 60-ish. Ooh, that ought to be a challenge. No. There we go. Transition to handgun. Keep moving. Good on it. Actually, you know what? We'll trade out. When you're doing a mag swap, reach for the magazine. Let me show you real quick. When doing a transition, reach for the magazine furthest over from your support hand. So in this case, it's going to be mag number 2, because normally there'd be one here, but there's a handgun there. That way, if you have to do a load and a pinch, you have a mag easily accessible closest to your support side. Guys, there's a lot to remember about working with weapons. What a glorious sound. For all the times that I've done this course of fire, I still somehow manage to lose the targets out here. You guys have noticed that I work that safety off, fire, transition, fire, safety on. Sometimes I'll even fire, safety on. Find a shot, safety off, fire, safety on. Guys, rifles, they'll bite you. You get lackadaisical with a rifle, it will bite you. Yeah, that was a hit too. You didn't hear it, but I saw it. And here's the field expedient target that I told you guys about, the puddle. See? Very satisfying. You hit that puddle, you know you've hit the puddle because that's puddle and this is dirt. Not as big, is it? All right, roughly 100 yards. So many of you make comments in the comment section that are actually questions disguised as comments. And I'll answer some of them right now in regards to what you just saw. You're seeing me do a lot of shots on the fly. And I know that it's because a great many of you don't understand that when you're talking about optics on firearms, aiming is taken out of the equation. At that point, all you're talking about is, do you understand the zero in relation to the given distance, and do you understand the weapon's capability? This rifle is 500 yards capable. I know this because I took it to Valor Ridge and was ringing steel with it at 500 yards. Verified by other students and by Rachel, Reed's wife. She was my shooting partner. So she witnessed me delivering heat with this rifle. Now, handgun, this is a strictly CQB weapon. I wouldn't attempt to do anything dramatically meaningful with a handgun. This is a get off me weapon. It too has an optic, and the optic has taken aiming out of the equation. Anyways, whoa, it is slick out here. All right, there's my sentry. All right. All right, final phase. Here we go. I always forget where they are out here. This is the course of fire that I don't have a lot of experience on, even though I'm the one that laid everything out. Check this out, guys. I pushed into this tree. Watch my hand. See the effect? It's this. It's the cat's tail. That is imparting motion to this. See how it moves my hand? What do you think it does out there? So I've got to find something bigger. Either that or prone out. This tree is better. There are a bunch of holes out here, so I don't get froggy out here. I move efficiently, but not fast. Go to handgun, get a shot, move on. Well, that was a lucky hit. The thing is less than 6 inches wide. Even if you've hit a target once before, hit it again once you're closer. I don't know if the camera's going to pick it up, but let's try that. Ha ha ha. Got it on number 2. Transition to handgun. Wow, that was a yank shot. There we go. My hands are shaking bad. Let's swap that out. 21 rounders. Last thing I do is I come up, touch the target, start over again. Or not start over, but head back. So on your way back, try to take a slightly different path back, which is sometimes difficult to do because there are brambles and holes everywhere. You don't get to guess when you're doing this, guys. Got to make sure you're getting your hits, because bullets get loose off the property and you got a problem. Ooh, that felt good. I love this RMR 04. Fiber optics driven, no batteries to fuss over. Wipe a little bit of baby shampoo on it. A heavily diluted baby shampoo to be exact. It controls fogging issues, and you're a happy camper forever. A lot of critters have been through here. Oh! Dang it! All right, what did I break? Oh boy, there's Abner busting stuff again. Well, shoot. Guess I'm gonna have to fix that. Just for the time being, we'll put them right there. Moving on. Oh, look what we can see. Fellas out there. That was a lucky shot. There's so many trees between me and that guy. Yeah, I didn't think I'd get a second one. Way too much roughage between me and him. Remember, guys, it's a two-way street. You wouldn't believe it, but a tree like this will deflect a rifle round quite efficiently. Remember, I didn't say stop it, I said deflect it. You will not get a true path trying to get a round to pass through a tree. At best, you'll have a round zipping down range, making a lot of, really effective noise as it goes by somebody, but you're not going to get a true trajectory off of that round. So remember that. Man, my hands are shaking something fierce. Back out to the 300, a couple hits there, back all the way to, whoa, that's slick. Back all the way to the very beginning. Not just there, but all the way to the beginning this time. So, like I said, guys, for me, this is a full 45 minutes of cardio. For you guys, don't know what it'll edit down to, but it won't be 45 minutes. This rifle spoils me because it has a level of velocity to it that I'm just not accustomed to. I'm an SBR shooter, and while this is technically an SBR because it's a 13.7, it is drilled and pinned, or welded and pinned out to, well, drilled, pinned and welded, out to 16 and change, making it a rifle rather than an SBR. However, the velocity that it imparts to a round is considerable. No, I've never chronoed it because I don't care, but I can tell there's velocity. There's more here because of the sound frequency that comes back at me when it hits a steel target. It's just a dramatically different sound when this rifle hits steel versus 11.3, 10.3, 7.5, 14.5, 16, whatever. This rifle gives off a frequency that is very distinct. There we go, that's more like it. You do not want to be on the receiving end of this rifle, I'll tell you that. Especially if I'm shooting it. Nothing tactical about this, guys. Just good old-fashioned shoot and scoot. Move with a purpose. Let me show you something real quick. When you're moving with your rifle, resting your hand here, not even really so much holding, just resting your hand here, will keep that little bit of movement from happening and hitting you. The sling does, as you can see, the sling does a really good job of managing the rifle for me, but there's still a little bit of poke. So I can either do that right there. You can see it pulls it up against me, and it doesn't alter how I'm walking, or I can just rest my hand on it. Okay, I'm feeling froggy. Let's try a 300-yard standing shot. Push into the barrier. Dial back. That's legit. Yeah, boy. Yeah, boy. 2 for 2. 2 for 2. That felt good. I just thought of something. Let me show you something. Watch. If I want to store this, it's forward, rotation. See how it sticks? It's got a little bit of movement to it, but not so much that it wears you out. That's the key. If the rifle's going like this on you, it's wearing you out. Now I'm in like, I'm humping it. I'm covering distance. I can move more efficiently because there's nothing up front. The chest rig is really stuck to me. The rifle is always going to be a balance issue. When you're moving with a rifle for an extended period of time, it is always the balance issue. Many years ago, one of my friends went on a corporate junket with Remington. I want to say they were in Utah or South Dakota or something, but it was high altitude. Gosh, I don't know. Wyoming, South Dakota, Utah, North Dakota, I don't know. They were at not like crazy high altitude, but high altitude-ish. And pack mules, that kind of a thing. Base camp, that kind of a thing. And it was, like I said, it was a corporate junket. Everybody was issued our T.REX leaf clothing, you know, gloves, beanies, thermals, as in like nods. And then they were all issued Remington ACRs. Yeah, those of you who know that rifle know what a special level of misery that rifle is. It starts off almost at 8 pounds naked. You dress that rifle with everything you would need for night ops, you're looking at something heavier than an M1 Garand. Yeah. This rifle on my back right now, however, is fully battle dressed, 6 pounds and change. And I want to say it's under 6.5 pounds. So you're talking light optic, sling, all the goodies, rail panels, ladder panels, everything, and it's like 6.5 pounds. So it does its job extremely well. And as you've been seeing, I've been smacking stuff at 300 yards with little effort. You gotta think, guys. You gotta think about your setups before you need them. For this one, I'm gonna get in the tall grass and try rice paddy squat. This ought to be interesting. Rice paddy squat. You go down. So imagine that you've got water levels about right there. So you go down. Yeah, I can't see the target. Let me get a little bit closer. I guess over here would work. You go down, hands on the weapon, There we go. There we go. And when you come up, it's hands on the rifle, not touching the ground. And then move. APC closed. Store the rifle on the side. I've got easily 200 yards to get to that end of the field. Normally I used to go through that, but that now is full of rabbit warrens, I think is what they're called. You know, the little holes that they dig. And all kinds of other critters, which right now are all in hibernation anyways, but there are a bunch of raspberry canes out there that'll tear you up. You know what? Legit, this is worth showing you guys. I'm so busy jaw-jacking with you guys. Look at that. There's still one in the chamber, but I had an empty mag. This is the partial from before, so we're looking at 12-ish, 13 rounds, push-pull. That empty goes in a back pocket, not back in the chest rig. And now we work this backward. 25, 50, 75, 100. That's roughly 25. That was high. I felt it break at the 10 o'clock position. 75 is going to be kneeling. This is roughly 75. Classic rifleman's pose. That looked dead center, but couldn't tell you. 100 yards is going to be prone and I'm done. Well, now I'm good and filthy. And just like that, I'm done. Now I'm good and filthy. Guys, I thank you so much for coming out. I thank you for your support on rifle sling purchases and donations to the channel to keep this channel truly independent. If I were to show you how many companies on a weekly basis are sending me unsolicited invitations for them to send me product for me to review it, you'd be floored. There are so many companies that are looking for a free ride because they know that a lot of the channels out there are looking for a free ride and they're looking to send you products and they don't care about the efficacy of the product. All they care about is selling the product because they know they can't reach you unless they find an American to push you that junk. So I'll tell you really short because I answered this question this morning. Trijicon, Aimpoint. That's it. Trijicon and Aimpoint. Those are the only two optics companies that I will use. And yes, I buy their optics. That's what I got for you guys today. As always, I thank you guys for watching. God bless you all. Get those guns out and practice. Have a good one.